Welcome back to the Fans of the Home Team podcast.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Miranda. This is a podcast that talks about the fun, the drama, and the effects that sports, teams, and athletes bring to the world, whether good or bad.
This is a podcast for people who care about sports in a deeper way than who won or who lost. It's for the people who love the feel-good stories behind teams and athletes and realize that sports are more than a game.
So before we dive into this week's episode, just want to give a quick shout out to all the people who gave us reactions and their opinions, whether good or bad, about our sitcom March Madness bracket. So part 1 and part 2 are already up. So if you haven't listened to them, definitely give them a listen. They're probably 2 of my favorite episodes that we've recorded to date, just because we had so much fun with it. Kelsey, we definitely riled some feathers with this bracket.
We definitely got some hot takes as well. I thought I had hot takes.
I had a phone call with my dad yesterday, and he was actually mad at Kelsey and I for kicking out that 70s show and upset that we like Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell. People mad about the cartoon side and saying Family Guy and South Park are their favorite sitcoms, and that's just a wrong answer right there. But anyway, so thanks for everyone for letting us know your thoughts and opinions, most of them being wrong, but we still appreciate the support, and we had a blast recording those 2 episodes. So if you haven't listened already, definitely go back, listen to those 2. They're super fun. And I was actually laughing out loud listening to both episodes. So they'll brighten your day. Today's episode is going to be about the cities in North America that we think, well, North America or other countries that we think need sports franchises. There's always talk of an expansion amongst all the leagues. So we'd love to share our thoughts, opinions, and very hot takes on where those teams should go. We'll be discussing the 5 major sports leagues. So NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and MLS today.
We've got a couple of rules because we're terrific rule followers. We need some structure. You cannot choose the same city for multiple leagues. So you can't pick Boise, Idaho for MLB and NHL. You should not choose it at all, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Number 2, you cannot pick a team for a city that lost its franchise in the last decade. So you couldn't pick an NFL team in Oakland, for example. And then number 3 is mostly for soccer. You can't pick a team that's already been awarded a franchise for some time in the future. And number 4, good hot takes are encouraged.
Yes, we love all the hot takes. To give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes, Kelsey and I write out an outline for every podcast just to put our thoughts in one collective space. So we both obviously have seen a peek at where we think each expansion city for the other. And surprisingly, I think I have more hot takes than Kelsey this episode, which is a rarity. So it should be a good one. We're going to start with Major League Baseball first. So Kelsey, give me that expansion city.
I think I used all my hot takes in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think, you deserve a rest on the hot take.
I have to replenish
my
brain. So Major League Baseball is one that comes up all the time for expansion. I feel like more so than a lot of the other sports. So sometimes I think about this a lot. I think it's really easy to just take a top attendance minor league baseball team and be like, yeah, that's it. When you look at their numbers, Columbus, where I live, the beautiful city of Columbus, Ohio, where it snowed on Saturday.
That's absolutely disgusting.
I cried on my couch.
I don't blame you.
Columbus is second in minor league baseball from 2019, which was the last time they did attendance numbers. So they're second in minor league baseball with the Clippers. But when you look at our professional teams, the Blue Jackets are 19th out of 32 teams. The Crew is 16th out of 28 teams with a brand new stadium, might I say. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but that's wild to me that no one cares. But I think it's really tough to go from 70 games for $5 to 82 games for $30 to $40. It's a very hard jump to make. Plus the fact that you'd have to tear down a minor league baseball stadium to put a Major League Baseball stadium up, probably, because minor league stadiums aren't going to work for major league teams. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not taking my minor league team out of the city. I can go for $5, get 10-cent hot dogs. So I chose Mexico City. Its metropolitan area is as big as New York City. So there's a buttload of people here that can go to these games.
A buttload.
A buttload. And if you just think about the demographic, this market loves baseball. And we're at a point in time for baseball where they need fans desperately. That's why I picked Mexico City.
I honestly think that's a fantastic pick. And I feel like that would be fun and like new and different as well.
They need some fans. There's fans there.
So as Kelsey was saying, to not follow just the success of a minor league team, I literally did that in picking my city, but there's also more reasons behind it. So my city for my MLB expansion, and I have not put a lot of thought in this, I just thought like it would be cool, it was Nashville, Tennessee. The Nashville Sounds, obviously they crushed there, probably for all the reasons Kelsey just gave, because of the more affordable tickets. There's a lot looser regulations in MILB than MLB, so there's a lot of fun and new and different things that they can do. I definitely recommend going to a game. Their stadium is really cool. Their video board is a giant guitar, so it's super sick and unique. But I just think it would be cool to have a professional baseball team there. Music City, like there's just so much, just from like a marketing standpoint, like so many cool things they would be able to do. The two professional sports leagues that are there, so the Preds and Titans, the loyalty that Nashville fans have for both of those teams is absolutely insane. I just went to the Stadium Series where it's the Lightning versus Predators, and the Predators fans like came out of the woodwork. It was definitely like a Nashville Preds home game. And even getting to talk to some of the fans in the stadium, like their loyalty for their hockey team is unbelievable. It honestly reminds me a lot of the Tampa Bay Lightning too, just being like more of a Southern market, not expecting NHL to be successful there. And then I went to a Titans game a couple years ago too. Is freezing, like record-breaking cold game. But like the stadium was jam-packed, like everyone was into it, like they were tailgating in the freezing cold, and there's just such like a loyalty, and I think that shows in the fandom of these teams. So I would imagine it would be similar to a professional baseball team too. Obviously there's a lot more games, but I think that the fans would show out for another professional sports team. I also think the tourism and amount of people that go in and out of the city, like it's just another thing to do, because obviously you have Broadway, you have the Country Music Hall of Fame, you have the Grand Ole Opry, like all these different artists, museums and stuff like that. So there is a lot to do, but I think just adding a baseball team, like the amount of tourism, and it's just something new and different to do as well. So yeah, you'll have those loyal fans, but you'll also have the casual fans that'll come in just to attend a game too. I also think like a stadium in the heart of Nashville, like a baseball stadium, would just be super. I cannot. My dogs are going crazy right now.
It sounded like she knocked over a chair.
She knocked into their food and water bowls. Sit down. You're supposed to be a quiet audience, not active. I swear, like they were literally just playing here so nicely the whole time. Lily. Anyways, they're ready to like fight right now. So I think the tourism, there's just different people going in and out of the city. The Nashville crowd has such like great energy. They have the stamina to be MLB fans, if that makes sense, because it's a lot of games, a lot of time commitment. And I just feel like they're the type of people who would put like their all into a baseball team. And I don't know, I just think it would be so fun and so cool, like I said, just from a marketing standpoint, to have a baseball team in Nashville.
I think it's a good pick. If I had to pick a minor league market, it'd probably be Nashville or Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I looked on the Sounds schedule for your bachelorette party and they're away. So I'm sad. I was going to ditch you to go to the game. Sorry. I have not been to a Sounds game yet.
Derek is also going to Nashville for his bachelor party because he copied me, but he's going at the end of June. And he was like, what can we do? And I was like, well, hockey and football won't be there, so you guys should go to a Sounds game. Like that would be fun.
Oh, can I go to his bachelor party?
I don't know. Ask him. Do you want to go to Nashville back to back 2 months?
Yeah, then I can judge to see whose was better.
Mine. I can already tell you that.
Okay, we'll see.
These boys have nothing planned. So this is a little off topic, but it's fine. It's still about Nashville. We booked our Airbnb like January, maybe. I don't even know. And after like a month of research, like me and my sister and my mom, like looking at different places, like even Kelsey was sending me places, like with multiple photos. Okay. The guys found one on Verbo, I think is the like another site.
Yeah, it is.
Similar to Airbnb. Like it was maybe one day of looking at places, and there's no other photos besides just the outside of the house.
Oh, I'm not going, so they're getting murdered.
Exactly. I'm like, y'all are gonna show up and there's gonna be nothing inside. You're gonna have to sleep on the floor. But like they just don't care. Like
That's
okay.
literally the biggest red flag I've ever heard of. Like, why would you put it up?
Yeah, I was like, are you sure? And they're like, it'll be fine. Like, okay, have fun, guys.
You better have pictures, you better have reviews, or
yes, exactly. I don't know if there was, I think there was reviews, maybe. I hope to God there was reviews. But yeah, they like, yeah, this is where we're staying. And I like try to swipe and there's like, no, this is the only photo. I'm like, oh my gosh.
My friends from undergrad, we're going to Denver in July. And so we looked at Airbnbs. We had like 20 like looked at. And then we like sent out a survey of what people wanted in an Airbnb. And then we went through them all on a Zoom call and it took us like 4 hours, but we finally picked one.
That's like the type of organization I need. I already told my sister too, who's my maid of honor, like I need a printed itinerary, like what are we doing each day, like all of that stuff. And I talked to Derek and his best man because we hung out last week, Joey. And I'm like, yeah, what are you guys doing? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, oh my God, you guys stress me out. Guys are just a different breed, obviously. My bachelor will be better.
Let's move to the NHL. What was your pick for them?
So this pick has been talked about for a while now. It's honestly, it makes the most sense for an NHL team to go back here, but there are some logistical issues too. But Quebec City was my pick for an NHL expansion team. I think the NHL has done really well with their expansions in the past few years, like Vegas and Seattle. Like I want to go out to Seattle to see a Kraken game so badly. So I picked Quebec City, as much as it pains me to pick like a Canadian city. I just think it makes the most sense. For those of you who don't know, the Quebec Nordics were a team in the NHL from 1979 to 1995. So they were there 16 years, 4 division champs. I was reading up on their history and they have just so many like cool stories. Like they're one of the most storied franchises in NHL history. I was reading up on it and there's just so many cool things. Like there was a rivalry built with the Montreal Canadiens, obviously, since the Canadiens are original 6 teams. So then Quebec was coming in. And Montreal was like, no, we're vetoing it. People of Quebec boycotted one of the major beer distributors that was Montreal based. So it hurt the business. So then finally Montreal was like, fine, like we'll go, like, I guess this is okay. So just that natural rivalry, like that has already like been established, but that would just be so cool to have like a cool Quebec versus Montreal rivalry. And personally, I cannot freaking stand the Montreal Canadiens. So like I would love to have another Canadian team close by to give them a run for their money. A lot of people were sad when the Nordics left and they went to become the Colorado Avalanche. And they actually the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup in their first year of being a franchise, which is absolutely insane and unheard of. It's just unfortunate because if they would have stayed in Quebec, they would have gotten a Stanley Cup. But anyways, even to this day, fans travel to different NHL games with Nordic gear and signs. So there's still a following. Canada is so well known for their hockey and their success of their hockey markets as well. And I think that having it in like the largest city, Quebec City, it just makes so much sense. They already have a brand new stadium waiting for them. This past April Fool's, Sportsnet played a joke announcing that the Nordics were coming back after 26 years. And like thousands upon thousands of comments were left on their Twitter posts and the thread just like blew up on social media. So there definitely is a following there. And it's one of the top picks for whenever the NHL expands again for it to happen. The issue is just the financial reasonings behind it, and just like Quebec City in general, like their economic status and stuff like that. But I could see it happening maybe in the next decade or so. I don't know. I just think like the city already has a rich history of having an NHL team in hockey. And I think that the following would still be there clearly, and still is, even though they're not even a team anymore.
Why did they leave the first time?
They got new ownership and they just wanted to move the team to Colorado.
I actually almost picked this, but I was reading about it, and Bettman has basically told them no multiple times. When they expanded to Las Vegas, they denied their application. And then just 2 months ago, he basically told the city there's no plans. But I know they're trying to host some Senators games this next year. I did almost pick this as my second choice.
I just don't know if the NHL is going to expand like anytime soon. That's why, because they just added like Seattle, like they went pretty frequent back to back there. So I feel like this would make the most sense for like the next decade. Like, I don't think this is going to happen in like 3 years or anything like that, but I think it would be cool.
Well, the Coyotes need to go. They need to go somewhere.
No.
It's not going well.
They're literally playing in like what's it called? Like a college hockey stadium that holds like 8,000 fans.
Yeah, they're in like ASU's like hockey stadium. The Suns don't want to share. The city doesn't want to. They don't want to build a new stadium like downtown either. So, like I'd say it's time to go, and they're also terrible. So
yeah, that doesn't help them either. And they really don't even have any star players.
That would equate to being pretty terrible.
Yeah, they need to go.
But yeah, that was my second pick. What I actually went with, I picked Milwaukee. Hockey's obviously popular up in that region. The Brewers and the Milwaukee Bucks both have good following. Green Bay is only a couple hours away. Obviously, Packers fans are diehard as well. So I think they do have the fan base to support an NHL team. It's actually weird to think about that they don't have one. But Wisconsin is second in the NCAA in overall hockey attendance, which is extremely good. They're only behind North Dakota, who's not ever going to be beaten anyway. And then I think there would be a really good Midwestern rivalry that they could do with the Wild, just like the Vikings and the Packers do. That was my reason for Wisconsin. I think it'd be a logistical challenge because of the stadium situations, but I think would be a good area to support a hockey team.
I like this one. I thought this was a good one when I saw it, like a creative pick. I have a recent love for the Milwaukee Bucks, so I totally feel like it would make sense for an NHL team to go there. I don't know if I see this happening just because I don't even know if this is on the NHL's radar. But I also like the idea of like following, because NCAA hockey is so popular. So like following that trend or a city, I wonder if like there would be the same passion for a professional team as there is a college team. But who knows? I also saw when I was looking at different options, Hartford, Connecticut was another one. I was like, oh, that would be good. Just like anywhere in the New England area, because college hockey is so popular. So similar with Wisconsin too. I think that would be sick. I love the Minnesota Wild for literally no reason. I've just always loved them. They're probably like my number 3 team. So it would be cool to have like a strong rivalry with a close proximity competitor.
I saw Hartford too. That's probably would have been my third pick. It's a very small market though, in terms of media and sponsorships. That could be tough.
Yeah, exactly.
The things you think about when you've worked in sports.
I'm pretty sure that the Rangers like minor league hockey team is in Hartford.
I know they have a soccer and a baseball team, minor league teams up there too. This was a tough one.
I really want Quebec City for some reason, but I think, like you said, the likelihood is like the Arizona Coyotes moving. Like I don't see them adding another team to the NHL for a while.
Besides for soccer, obviously that's expanding literally every single day. It's going to be a while before we see a new franchise in any of the other sports.
Yeah, agreed. And I guarantee you that the MLB will be absolutely last because they're behind in everything. I'm already like checked out of baseball season because I got notifications back to back about Jacob deGrom and Scherzer with injuries. So, and the season hasn't even started. Can't wait.
That's a good start for you guys.
Yeah, like our 2 aces. Like Jacob deGrom could be out for significant time. Max Scherzer, something strain. I'm like, okay, sick. Preseason is stupid.
And it was shortened. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna have great years. Let's move on to the MLS.
This was hard for me because I'm not like a soccer fan at all. Obviously, I know that the MLS is expanding and all that, but I was just like, I don't even know.
This is the argument I'm literally willing to die for, despite not liking American soccer. If you've ever been to an EPL game like Miranda and I have, and then you watch American soccer, it's like watching children playing. That's offensive, I'm sure, but like it's just so different.
When we went to Manchester, which one? City?
Yes, Miranda. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I forgot. That was so cool. Like one of the coolest sports like fan moments I've ever had in my life. And I don't even like soccer.
EPL fans are just a different breed. The game is starting. They're in their seats. Like they're not eating. They're not getting concessions. They're not doing it. They are there. They're watching. They're chanting. It's insane.
They're so focused on just the sport and the game. Like they don't care about all the distractions and like more of the entertainment side, I guess, that goes along with a sports game. I just felt like it was so like classy and professional. And like those are like some of the most diehard fans are EPL fans.
Yeah, I think in America, like everything's a sponsorship. It's overwhelming. And at some point, you just don't notice it anymore because there's so many. No. But they just have like their stadium and they have like the sponsor on their jersey. And like that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And they have some on-field signage like around the
boards.
Yeah, exactly. But it was very minimal. The video, I don't think they played like one promotional campaign or anything like that.
It was fantastic.
Awesome. It was the best.
Everyone cut your sponsorships.
Even though it's the largest amount of revenue for any sports team in America, you guys should definitely cut them.
The Savannah Bananas did. They don't have any sponsors.
They have just such a good establishment of their brand and their fandom that I think it would be so hard for that to translate to other sports teams because they rely so heavily on their sponsors.
They've just done such a good job to where they don't need sponsors because they make money other ways. And it's not like any other team couldn't replicate it. They just aren't. That's my opinion on the matter.
This is also because I have a background of working in sponsorship too. Like the analytics and the data behind sponsorship is really challenging to track and qualify because, for example, you could have like an on-field signage. You don't know how many eyes are actually like looking at that on-field signage because you can say like average attendance or average number of viewers, but like still not like 100% accurate. And I'll go to like Lightning games or whatever, and I'm like, and this is because we have the sports business background too, and I'll notice those things because I do appreciate like a good sponsorship partnership and a good marketing ad, but I'll be like, oh, I didn't know like blah blah, like whatever sponsor. And the people that I'm with who are more like not casual fans but more true fans and don't pay attention to the business side are like, oh, I didn't even see that. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
A lot of times I feel like it's there just kind of taking up space amongst the 100 other partnerships that are there. So
yeah, and just such a distraction. And sports in America more and more becoming more of like a social outing, and people are like paying attention to the people around them and the conversations they're having, which I think is great. Most fans don't even know the ending score of a game when they walk out the building. So you can't tell me that they saw that McDonald's sign like are in the corner. It's crazy. And yeah, I agree. The Manchester City, like it was a phenomenal experience.
I would recommend you guys join a grad school program and go to Manchester City.
The best part of grad school was going to Europe. 100%.
We could do a whole podcast about our trip to Europe, but I feel like it would just be us talking shit and we'd get in trouble.
Yeah, and like too much drama,
just 25-year-old drama,
and getting into fights on the street too.
Oh yeah,
in Manchester actually, but
yeah, we actually almost caused an entire scene in Manchester, but it's fine.
I also almost got into a fight in the bathroom in Manchester as well, but whatever.
Good times.
I was just trying to be a nice American, but they hated me.
Can't be doing that. Going back to our podcast topic at hand. For the MLS, my pick was Detroit. I'll fight for this. So a few years ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons owners wanted to team up and bring an MLS team to Detroit. If you remember, over the past few years, they've done a lot of expansion. They'll bring in like 2 teams every year, it seems like. So they were going to build this like 23,000 seat stadium in Detroit. The Ford family got involved, which are the owner of the Detroit Lions. And they're like, why don't we just have the team play at, Ford Field? It's already built. And the MLS was like, nah, we're not about that. And Detroit was a front runner to get a bid up until that point. So that kind of fell flat. But then Charlotte has gotten a bid for an MLS team. And they did it because the Panthers said they can play in their stadium, which was the exact reason Detroit lost the bid. I just thought that was messed up.
The drama.
So much drama. And Detroit City FC has a really good backing. They were amateur even a couple of years ago, and they've came all the way up to the USL Championship, which is like the level below MLS at this point. It's been a very crazy ride for them. I will say this, Detroit is one of the best sports towns in America. They just happen to have really bad performing teams.
Yeah.
But they all have good ownership and they all have great stadiums and they're all within a few blocks of each other in downtown Detroit. And it's a cool place to go. So yeah, this is my pick. I think it would have good backing.
I think it would have good backing too. I mean, I feel like you have so many good reasons in here. Like your like bulleted list with multiple layers. I'm like, okay, the current major sports teams in Detroit are, like you said, like they have such loyal fans, so much history, and I mean, even the city of Detroit itself. So it would be cool. And I think makes sense for MLS to go here. I hate Detroit Red Wings fans, but that's about all I'll say about that city.
Shout out to my cousin Mary.
Yeah.
Tell her to listen.
Also, check out Mary's stories on Fans of the Home Team.
Yeah, that one's a fantastic story.
It really is. It was super cool. But again, I think the reason I don't like Red Wings fans is because they are like, they know their shit and they're a loyal fandom.
They stole our GM, but it's fine. We got a couple rings.
It's fine.
It's fine. Thanks for the ring, buddy.
They did steal our GM, but like right after he left, we got 2 rings. So worth it. Shout out to Steve Eiserman. So mine is really based off because I think the city is beautiful and has nice weather and would be cool to have a soccer team. So I picked San Diego, California, a beautiful city that has major sports teams past and present, also has had successful minor league sports teams. Unfortunately, the only team left there is the San Diego Padres, but it's also one of the largest markets on the West Coast without soccer. They also have the largest media market that straddles the US and Mexico border, so just bringing in more fans into the MLS. And then they've had, like I said, successful minor league soccer clubs in the past. I don't know, I just feel like San Diego and soccer, it just makes sense to me. It reminds me a little bit of like Miami as well in that market too, and that expansion. So that's kind of why I went with San Diego. And then also it's literally the only place worth visiting in California. So
you didn't like when we went to San Francisco?
No, I had a great time in San Francisco with you guys, but like the city itself, I was like, I don't know. I enjoyed San Diego more. I think it was just beautiful. They have the San Diego Zoo. I think it was just like more, I don't want to say like family friendly because like, it's not like San Francisco wasn't, but I think San Francisco just has a lot going on. The city, just so crowded. Like it was overwhelming at certain points, but it was beautiful. And like the Golden Gate Bridge, amazing. I will say, I thought we were gonna die when we were going up those like that stair thing.
Okay, so this was another class trip that we went on. We went to LA.
Which garbage. That is a garbage city. Never go to LA.
You know, it never rains in LA. They're like, it never rains here. Everyone's like, it never rains here. It rained all 5 days we were there. Yep. We were outside in wet business clothes 5 days straight. It was horrendous.
It was like a big fat no. The most excited part I was about too was going to see Dodger Stadium, and it was pouring the whole time. And I was like, well, this sucks.
Gosh, yeah, that's true. And then we had to do a networking dinner.
I hate networking.
I didn't talk to a single person.
I hated all the forced networking we had to do. I'm like, I like networking, but like on my own time when it's natural and authentic, not like being forced in a room and wearing a name tag.
I think I just sat there and ate cake, like straight up for 2 hours. Like, no lie. But then after that, we went to San Francisco with some friends.
Yes.
And we had to climb up. It was at least like 1,000 stairs, right?
This was insane. No wonder everyone is in fantastic shape because you're walking on an incline 24/7.
This wasn't even a hill. This was a straight up cliff.
Yeah, it was a staircase, like a natural staircase, if you could envision that.
We're trying to get to this pizza restaurant. And
yes, which was fire. So
was
worth
so
it.
I don't know if I'd say it was worth those stairs, but it was fire. And I can just tell, like, I can see the stairwell coming up. And I'm like, we better not be doing this. All of a sudden, we start heading towards the stairwell. And I'm like, no way, dude. Like, no way. It was like a 10-story building.
It was a lot. And I remember, like, we were almost to the top, but it felt like a very long time. And we passed like this couple, and I think they were messing with us. And they're like, you still got a long way to go. And I was like, I'm not going to make it. Like, I'm literally not. I'm not going to make it. Thank goodness they, again, were messing with us, so lied. But I was like, well, I guess I'm living in the middle of the staircase for the rest of my life because I can't go up or down.
I swore I was going to die on the staircase.
And something that y'all should know, Kelsey and I are major complainers. Like, we were just talking about this earlier. Like, we complain a shit ton. So just imagine, like, the two of us and then our friends, shout out Maddie and Crystal, like, going up this stairs. And Maddie's like, it'll be okay. Like, this is a shortcut. Like, we're almost there. And Kelsey and I are like, what the hell did we get ourselves into?
I don't think I talked to her the rest of the day.
You're so dramatic.
I was pissed. I was like, order an Uber. Let's go.
Yeah, it definitely was a trek to the pizza place, but again, worth it. And that was such a fun trip. Like, we had a great time, but I guess that would be like second on my list of places to go in San Francisco. I don't know. I really enjoyed my time in San Diego. So yeah, I could do a whole episode shitting on California, but we're not going to do that. So
not yet. I want to go to San Diego so bad. My mom said the same thing. Let's go on to the NBA. I think your pick is a hot take, to be
honestly,
honest.
My next two picks for the NBA and NFL are hot takes. And I will say I have to give credit to my dad, because when I was on the phone with him and I told him, like, hey, this is like, we're recording this episode today, he was like, oh, I can tell you where the NBA needs to go. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea. My dad's idea is to move the Orlando Magic from Orlando to Tampa, Florida. Orlando Magic is a waste, like, being in Orlando. I don't know who goes to Magic games. I've gone to a Magic game once, and it was a good time. Like, their stadium is really nice, but we sat like in the nosebleeds and I thought I was going to fall down. Like, it was so steep, like one of the steepest arenas I've ever been to in my entire life. And I was like, I don't know how everyone enjoys watching a game here. And I couldn't see shit. I think Orlando just has so much going on and so much to offer. Like, you're not going to Orlando to go to an Orlando Magic game. You're going to Disney World or Universal or water park or literally the million of other things going on there. I think Orlando, has been under construction for like 100 years. So that's also not helpful for people to want to drive and go to Orlando Magic games. I also think that if they came to Tampa, you could still reach and draw the true Orlando Magic fans to come to Tampa, because I think it's like once a year during the preseason, the Tampa Bay Lightning go up to Orlando and play at their stadium or arena, whatever it's called, and play a game, and they draw a great audience because there are Tampa Bay Lightning fans who live in Orlando and come to the games. When my dad said it, I was like, a light bulb went off. Like, it just makes so much sense. I think Tampa has proved to be a major sports city, especially with the Lightning and the Bucks. And I mean, even the argument for the Rays, like, yeah, they don't draw a large crowd, but it's also because they're across the bridge in St. Pete. I think if they came over to Tampa, things would be different. It would just make sense especially at the rapid rate that the Tampa St. Pete area is growing. It's absolutely insane. I saw a graphic the other day and it was just like the influx of people from across the US moving to Florida in general. But like the Tampa St. Pete area, oh my God, which is awesome, but also living here in St. Pete, I'm like, please go back to your cities. Like, I need to buy a house and y'all aren't helping me at all. So I think we've proven to be loyal fans. I think that the Magic are just isolated up in Orlando. Like, it's the only, or I guess you have, what's it called? Orlando FC? Is that what they're called? The Lions?
SC.
SC?
Soccer team? SC.
Yeah, which I think is super cool. And I do want to go to a game. And I also love like their marketing and their logo and colors. But I don't know. I just think it would make sense for the Magic to move to Tampa. I think that players and teams love coming to Tampa. Like, it's proven with the Lightning and the Bucks. Like, I mean, Tom Brady came to Tampa Bay and he absolutely loves it. And I think he loves living here. I think there's been so many Lightning players who they're excited when they get traded to Tampa because it's just such a fun, like, beautiful city. The weather is nice 24/7. Like, it's not snowing in April. So I don't know. I just think it would be a lot of fun. Obviously, would have to build a state or arena and all that good stuff. Or they can just play out of Amalie Arena, actually. Duh. Whenever COVID was going on, the Toronto Raptors came down here and played out of Amalie. We've hosted like NCAA basketball tournaments and March Madness and different rounds of that. So I feel like this would be super cool. Also, I am biased because I do live here, but shout out to my dad for this hot take of an idea.
Maybe he won't hate us this episode.
Yeah, maybe not, since we'll give him some credit and some love because he was really mad at us about the sitcoms. But
Miranda texted me yesterday. It was like, my dad is shitting on you right now. I was like, what did I do?
You picked Saved by the Bell.
It's a great show, but I agree. I don't think Orlando is as accessible as Tampa is. And they don't market like Orlando SC does. I feel like they're just sitting there and like no one cares.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I never see anything about the Orlando Magic.
No, it's time for a move. It's time for a rebrand. Like,
and they have some really great history too, and like some really good like past players.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing sitting up there, but
yeah, I think it's just a waste. Yeah, revamp, come to Tampa. You could still be the Orlando Magic if you want. Like, I don't know.
Tampa is an elite city, and compared to Orlando, Orlando doesn't hold a match to Tampa. So
of course, there's people who live in the area and in the area surrounding it. But like a lot of people, like a good chunk of people coming to Orlando are either from a different state or international. Like, there's not as much of a loyalty around the Orlando Magic as if they moved to Tampa. Like, yeah, obviously we have a large tourism market as well, but I just think they would have more of a loyal and larger fandom.
At least there's not like Disney adults coming to Tampa. Thank God.
Yeah, true. I literally was talking about Disney adults yesterday at work as well.
It's a wild scene. I used to work with a Disney adult, so I mean, some of my old coworkers always would talk shit.
Honestly, Derek and I had an annual pass like a few years ago.
You're not a Disney adult though.
No, we haven't been in after we went the last time. I was like, I'm good to not go back until we have kids. Because it's a lot. It's so hot. Also, they did start serving alcohol in like Magic Kingdom and stuff. So makes it a lot better. But it's just a lot. My friends and I were talking. We saw like this couple on Instagram who went to Disney like right after they got married. And I was like, that sounds horrible.
Janelle and I went when we lived in Tampa. My mom got us like a couple day pass or whatever for Christmas. And I had went when I was like 10 with my family, but Janelle had never been. And it was literally the same as when I was little. I was like, I don't think time has changed here. Like, this is the exact same. And it's for kids.
I will say though, with the integration of like Marvel, I'm excited to see like some of the Marvel rides and things that they come out with.
I just like Universal better.
Oh my God.
It's way better.
I hate Universal, but sure.
What?
Derek and I have this argument all the time because he loves Universal. I don't hate Universal. I just think Disney is better.
In what aspect? Their rides aren't better?
In all aspects. There's so much else to do at Disney. Like, not just Magic Kingdom. I'm talking about like Epcot. I don't like Animal Kingdom. Hollywood Studios. Universal has also been the same. And the new rides that they bring in are shitty. The new Fast and Furious ride, that ride is the worst ride I've been on in my entire life.
Okay. The Spider-Man ride, though, is really good. And the Harry Potter rides are great.
I love the Spider-Man ride, but
the Harry Potter world there is elite.
Yeah, I like the new part better than the old part, though.
Their water park at Universal is Volcano Bay is the best water park I've been to.
Oh, I don't like water parks.
Next subject. I'm gonna go now because I'm tired of
I don't like
this Disney adult coming up in here. You're a Disney adult now. Derek's not, but you are.
I'm literally not a Disney adult. I just do not tarnish me with that name. I just don't see the appeal of Universal. And again, the last time I went, I was like, it's so hot. There's kids screaming. I'm not having fun. I don't need to go back here until I have a child.
What month did you go?
I don't remember.
Probably
when it was
August.
hot.
Yeah, well, don't do that. That's dumb.
I don't know. I just like don't want to go back.
Okay, so
also wait, can I tell a funny story about Universal real quick?
Sure. Go.
So the Hulk roller coaster, which I do love that ride. It was when Derek and I started dating again, and we went to Universal, and like we get off the ride, like whatever, we're totally fine. And Derek's like, do you ever like black out on that ride? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like every time I ride that roller coaster, like as soon as we take off, like everything goes black and then I come back to it. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's not okay. And he was like, yeah, like that's how it's been like since I was a kid. Like every time I go on that coaster now, like I black out. I'm like, that's not normal. Like, what?
Just that one?
Just that one, like, and no other ride has ever happened to him. But he just like said it so casually, and I was like, no, that doesn't happen to me. I would be scared shitless. Like, I wouldn't go on that ride.
That doesn't make any sense. It's not like it's like a different type of roller coaster than any other one.
I think maybe it's like the G-force in the beginning or something that like messes with him. But yeah, I was like, no, I don't black out on this roller coaster because I would never ride it ever again because I'd be too scared that I wouldn't wake up.
No, I would. Why would you ride something you just black out on?
I know. It's so
fun.
casual. Oh yeah. But anyways, goodbye,
Boys are
Orlando.
weird.
Yeah, boys are weird and we don't like Orlando.
And Miranda's a Disney adult.
No, I'm literally not a Disney adult. I don't want that label on me.
Okay. Well, we'll go to mine. Because mine is the correct answer when it comes to the NBA.
But honestly, I saw yours and I was like, I can't choose the same city.
Well, I picked Seattle, obviously, because they were robbed of a team. Like, imagine who decided they were going to take a team from Seattle, Washington, and move them to Oklahoma City. What's there?
Yeah, nothing.
This was the biggest heist in like business history. Was just this move in general. But anyway, other arguments besides for that climate pledge where the Kraken play is NBA ready. There's a buttload of money in Seattle. The fans would, yeah, I've said butt like twice now. The fans would welcome the Supersonics back with open arms.
Oh,
like it would
100%.
be hype. Like people would love that shit. So this is the only answer. If you're listening, NBA, just do it because this is a travesty.
Just do it.
Just do it, Nike.
That's what I was gonna say. I think this is a great answer. I would have put this obviously if you didn't have it. And yeah, that's that. I feel like so many people talk about the Supersonics. The fan base is already there.
The NBA would have been so different if they never left. Like Kevin Durant would have been in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, like how it would just change the course of so many like players' careers.
Who wants to go play in Oklahoma City anyway? Like, no way you make a pitch for me to live there as a bajillion-dollar net worth athlete. No way.
Yeah. One of the, maybe it was the MLS. I don't know. But when I was doing my research of like where are hot cities for league expansions, one of them was Oklahoma City. And I was like,
That's someone's terrible opinion.
what's happening there? Like the only thing popular is like college football.
I think they do like the college softball World Series there.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, I want to go to that. I'm such a feminist. College softball is probably like a top 3 sport that Janelle and I watch. So when people say they support women's sports, I support women's sports.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, Janelle played softball.
Oh, okay. So. That makes sense. I hated softball. But
I never played either.
Go Knowles, because our softball team is fire.
But yeah, I love college softball.
Yeah, I usually watch when it's like playoff / the championship.
I watch most days now, actually.
Wow, I love that for you. We love supporting other women.
Women supporting women. That is what this podcast is about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move to the last league, which is the NFL. I truly feel like the NFL might never expand. So this was definitely the hardest. I picked San Antonio, Texas, mostly from the hype from the San Antonio mayor, honestly. He's like on the record. He expects an NFL team to be in town within a decade. So by 2028.
So 6 years away.
So they're going to need to announce that soon. I didn't know this about San Antonio, but it's like the 7th biggest city in the nation. They're the largest in the country without an NFL team. Only 80 miles from Austin, which is booming too.
Yeah.
And then I think the Alamo Dome is probably one of the most NFL ready stadiums in the US that does not have a team at all. So this was my pick. There's just not many options, honestly.
Yeah, this one was hard. And I just went with like a hot take / fun pick because why not at this point? Because like we said, I just don't think the NFL is expanding. And I honestly don't want them to expand either. Like, I just think it would be too many teams. And I don't see a team moving either anytime soon. Even like the shitty ones, like they still have established fan bases and things like that. And I think they just did all that movement with like the Chargers and the Rams and the, Raiders. So I think they're going to chill for a little bit. So my pick for NFL expansion is, and this is why I said in the beginning that it's not just North America, is Europe as well. So I picked London just because I think that would be cool. The only cool next big step for them is to go international. I know there was a lot of cases for Canadian teams as well, but I chose London. I think it would just be cool. It would be another reason for Americans to go visit London, which I'm sure London wouldn't like. But anyway, I think the NFL has seen a lot of success over the years. I think that there's just a natural fandom for American football. And there's a lot of transient Americans who live in London as well. I think that the fans would show out for the games, just like we've seen when teams travel however many times a year to go over there. There's fans. I always laugh when random the Jaguars, and then there's fans there in Jaguars gear, and I'm like, what? Who the Jacksonville Jaguars are? I don't know. But I think we talked about too, just the success and massive fandom and loyalty of European football, aka soccer, over there. I think there's just a natural connection with just the fandom and having something else to root for. I also think it would just be a different experience for players and fans. That would be pretty cool to go play in London for a few years. Again, I think there would be challenges, obviously, because I don't know a ton of players who just would want to live internationally for their whole career, and things like that. I'm also with the travel, but I saw there was logistics to get around it, them just playing East Coast teams, because it really wasn't hard to travel to London. It wasn't that long of a flight. Obviously there's a time difference and with broadcasting and things like that, but I mean, I think if the NFL just does such a good job of marketing and hooking people into whatever product or their next thing, that they could make it work somehow, people would care to wake up, especially players on their fantasy football team or something like that. But yeah, I just chose London because I think it'd be fun and cool. And I just feel like the NFL's next step has to be something major, not just expanding in the US.
I don't think traveling would be as big of an issue as people say it is. I mean, it's not much different to fly from New York to London as to fly to New York to California. Like it's like 6 hours both ways on a flight. So like it's really not that insane. But yeah, it would take a lot of different logistics, and I think it'd be really hard to pitch it to free agents as well. You're definitely at a disadvantage at that point, but you gotta be a disadvantage to be pitching to free agents as like the Jaguars or something like that as well. So each team has advantages and disadvantages. I know they had talked about the Jags going over there for a while, but I don't even know what's going on with that organization. But
does anybody? Yeah, I think the biggest issue, like you said, would just be like convincing players to go over to London, and coaches and like a front, all of that stuff. But again, like there's people who would do it. Like it's just a different experience and a different Kelsey raises her hand. There's a different like experience and like time in your career. I think it would be challenging though to like build like franchise quarterbacks like Tom Brady. Like I don't know if a player is going to stay on the team for like a couple decades, you know?
Yeah, Miranda and I talk about moving to Europe literally once a week when something inconvenient happens.
Yeah, every time anything bad in the US happens, I'm like, let's go to Italy, open our own vineyard, and we'll just live over there and eat pasta and bread and drink wine for the rest of our life.
Or we'll see a TikTok of someone who's moved from the US to Europe and they talk about how great it is.
Yeah, that'd be nice, but will we ever do it? Probably not. So, and I will say though, like Kelsey and I also got the opportunity to go to London too. And I want to go back. I feel like I had a great time, but like I want to experience it again, if that makes sense. I think I was just so exhausted from Manchester that I didn't get to appreciate London as much as a lot of people do.
I'm going to tell a Manchester story. So what was the
God.
The second night we were there, we were all at some bar. What was it called? I forget. We finally found our way to some bar in Manchester, and we were there for a while. There was dramatics, but then we went back to the hotel.
What was that place called?
NoHo.
Yeah.
Stay on NoHo if you're ever in Manchester. And so the next morning, like I wake up and with some classmates, some friends, because we're gonna go check out Manchester. So we did a free day. So we got up at like, I don't know, 9, got some breakfast, and then started the day texting Miranda and our other friend Lauren all day. Like, we're doing this if you're up. We're eventually at Flight Club at like 4 p.m. Miranda texts me. She's like, we're awake. Like, it's 4 p.m. It's wild. Slept the whole day.
Yeah, we really did. But no, I don't think that was our second night. That was the first night we were there. We went out.
Oh, yeah. We flew over like 9 p.m.
Yeah, because like we all slept on the plane.
Oh, Thomas Cook Airlines.
Tom, the GOAT, not around anymore, but that was
a business.
So like so we all, like all of our friends and even some of our classmates too, like large group of us were flying on Thomas Cook Airlines out of Orlando. And shout out Orlando again, you know, great airport. I will say that.
Gosh, so
huge airport, overwhelming. Also because it was the most affordable like international flight that most of us could find. We're all like trying to find like reviews on Thomas Cook. I was talking to one of my friends who was over in England at the time, asking her about this airline, blah, blah, blah. Like we couldn't find any information about Thomas Cook Airlines. Like it was like no one had ever heard of them. And I was like, oh, great. Like we are not, like, this is going to be an awful experience. We were really nervous. Like I was a little nervous. And it was one of the best flight experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Like it was so nice. It was clean. Like most of the people on the flight were coming back home to London and the UK. Like we got 2 separate meals. Like they turned the light. The bathrooms were not like, and the pilot was the sweetest gem of a human I've ever met. I didn't meet him, but heard him over the intercom. And I still, to this day, what he said sticks with me, because when we were flying over He also took the route where like you fly over land the whole time. So like we flew over Ireland, like we weren't over the water for that long because obviously that's the scariest part. We hit a little bit of turbulence and he got on the announcement and was like, it's okay, everybody. Like just think of turbulence as like when you're on a boat and you go over the waves, like the plane is just going over the clouds of the sky and stuff like that. And still to this day, when I'm on a flight and hit turbulence, I always think of that and it makes me feel so much better. So shout out to that pilot in Thomas Cook Airlines.
I remember I was telling people it was going to be like the spirit of international travel and we were falling in the ocean. Like
yeah, I was really nervous, but it was so nice. Yeah, we got in that morning, so we didn't sleep we slept on the plane, but I think like our time was like all messed up. So yeah, Lauren and I slept from 2 a.m. to 4 p.m. Whatever.
Good times.
One of the best sleeps of my life though. And also in Manchester, it was so like overcast and rainy. So like the sun, it's not like the sun was shining into our room either. Yeah, that's the longest I've ever slept in my life.
Damn, we basically did a whole podcast actually about our trip now that I think about it.
Yep. But 10/10 recommend going over to Europe.
Yeah, we should go again soon.
I'm down.
All right, bet. I'll book the flights.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of our picks for expansion cities for the 5 major sports leagues. Let us know what you guys think about each of our cities, what you think of our hot takes, if you think we're totally off base. Also, let us know of any cities we didn't include. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Like we always say in the beginning, we just try to have fun with it and keep trying to come up with the creative ideas for podcast episodes. So also, if you have any ideas or things you want to hear us talk about, please let us know. We're always open to outside thoughts and opinions because that's the best way we're going to get better and grow this podcast.
No topic is off limits, obviously, if you've listened to the podcast. Talk about everything.
And like, sorry, but also not sorry for all the tangents. I think you guys just needed to know all that information. So
yeah, this is just how we talk actually on a regular basis.
Pretty much. We cover like 20 categories in like an hour span. So
we also talk for like 2 hours before we film as well.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot to talk about, okay? We don't live in the same city, and it's not like we text every single day.
Yeah, not at all. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Next week, we'll be doing another interview with a fan, so don't miss it.
As always, check out our link tree, which you can find in the description of this episode. This is our one-stop shop for you to find all of our social media accounts, and also sign up to share your fandom story with us, or like we said, share your podcast ideas, share what cities we missed for expansions. If you're still upset about the sitcom brackets, let us know.
And so you don't miss any of our upcoming podcasts, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. We're making a big push for reviews on Apple Podcasts. Would love your support as we continue to grow the podcast.
Yes, and also special shout out to those who already left reviews. We really appreciate the love and support. And it literally takes like 2 minutes to leave a review. So please think about leaving a review after you listen to this episode. Thanks again, as always, and we'll see you next Wednesday.